Imagine this. You're sitting across from the person you love most in the world, eyes shining with excitement as you share the one dream that keeps you awake at night. And instead of support, he laughs. Babe, that's cute, but it's pointless. Focus on something real. What would you do? Would you shrink back, or would you bet everything on yourself anyway? Stick with me until the end of this story, because today you're about to meet Emily Thompson, a woman whose husband mocked her pointless little side hustle for years, until the day he learned it was secretly worth $2 billion. If you've ever had a dream someone tried to kill with doubt, this one's going to hit you right in the heart. Hit that like button right now if you believe in second chances and underdog stories, and subscribe for more real-life triumphs that prove persistence beats perfection every single time. Emily Thompson had always been the dreamer in the relationship. At 32, she was a warm, quick-to-laugh elementary school teacher by day and a secret inventor by night. She and her husband Mark had been married for 8 years. They met in college, fell hard, and built what looked like the perfect life. A modest 3-bedroom house in suburban Ohio, a golden retriever named Luna, and a 5-year-old daughter, Sophie, whose bright eyes reminded Emily every day why she kept pushing. But money was always tight. Mark worked long hours as a regional sales manager for a manufacturing company. He was reliable, steady, and deeply practical, the kind of man who believed success came from climbing the corporate ladder, not playing around on the internet. Emily respected that. She really did, yet something inside her refused to stay quiet. It started the year Sophie turned 3. Emily noticed how hard it was to find safe, beautiful, and genuinely eco-friendly toys and clothes that didn't cost a fortune. One sleepless night, after Sophie had an allergic reaction to a cheap imported blanket, Emily sketched her first design. Soft organic cotton onesies printed with non-toxic inks, packaged with love notes from Sophie's future big dreams. She called it Little Bloom. I'm going to start small, she told Mark one evening, showing him her notebook filled with colorful drawings and cost calculations. Just an online store. I can sew the first batches myself on weekends. Mark leaned back on the couch, beer in hand, and chuckled. Honey, that's adorable. But come on, you're a teacher. We don't have time or money for hobbies. Little Bloom. Sounds like something that'll die in 6 months. He ruffled her hair like she was one of his coworkers pitching a silly idea in a meeting. Stick to grading papers. We need the steady paycheck. The words stung deeper than Emily let on. That night she cried in the bathroom so Sophie wouldn't hear. But something fierce woke up inside her. The next morning she quietly used the last of her teaching supply budget to buy fabric and opened an Etsy shop with 5 handmade onesies. She posted her first photo at 2 a.m., heart pounding. For the first 2 years, Little Bloom was exactly what Mark predicted. Small. Painfully small. Emily worked until midnight after teaching all day, packaging orders at the kitchen table while Sophie slept. She learned Facebook ads on YouTube tutorials, cried when a batch of fabric arrived defective, and celebrated alone when she made her first $87 profit. Mark's mockery grew with every failed month. Still playing boutique, he'd say when he saw her gluing labels at 11 p.m. You know we could use that time for family movie nights instead of you chasing unicorns. Friends at barbecues would ask what Emily did for fun, and Mark would answer for her, she's got this little side thing. Cute, right? Emily smiled through the humiliation, but inside she was breaking. There were nights she almost shut the shop down. One particularly brutal winter, an entire inventory of winter jackets got ruined in a basement flood. Insurance didn't cover it. They were already behind on the mortgage. Mark came home, saw the soggy boxes, and exploded. This is exactly why I told you it was pointless. We're drowning in bills and you're wasting money on baby clothes nobody asked for. He slept on the couch that night. Emily sat on the cold garage floor surrounded by ruined fabric and whispered to herself, I can't quit. I just can't. She thought of Sophie's trusting face, of the single moms who wrote her heartfelt messages saying Little Bloom clothes were the only ones their sensitive children could wear without rashes. Those messages became her fuel. Slowly, almost invisibly at first, things began to shift. A mommy influencer with 40,000 followers received a free set and posted a glowing review. Orders tripled overnight. Then a major natural parenting blog featured her. By the end of year 3, Little Bloom had its own simple website and was shipping to all 50 states. Emily hired her first part-time seamstress, a single mom from her school, and cried happy tears in the car after dropping off the paperwork. Mark noticed the extra money coming in but still dismissed it. "Nice that you're making pocket change," he said. "But don't get ahead of yourself. Trends die." He was promoted at work around the same time and doubled down on his belief that his corporate path was the only real one. Their marriage grew tense and polite on the surface, cold underneath. Date nights became rare. Intimacy felt forced. Emily felt lonelier than ever, even though the man she loved slept beside her every night. The biggest challenge came in year 4. A large retail chain offered a partnership that could have scaled the business fast, but they demanded changes that would compromise the organic, non-toxic standards Emily had built her brand on. She turned them down. Sales dipped hard as she held her ground. Bills piled up again. Mark found out and gave her an ultimatum. "Either shut this down and get serious about life, or, I don't know, Emily. I can't keep watching you throw our future away." That was the night Emily almost broke. She drove to the park at 1 a.m. and sat on a swing, sobbing under the streetlights. She questioned everything: her talent, her timing, her marriage. But as the sun rose, she remembered the little girl version of herself who used to draw dresses for her dolls and promise she would make beautiful things one day. She went home, kissed Sophie's sleeping forehead, and kept going. She pivoted. Little Bloom launched a subscription box for new moms, complete with educational cards about child development and mental health resources. She poured her own struggles into honest Instagram captions about balancing motherhood, marriage, and dreams. The authenticity exploded. Within months, the brand crossed 7 figures in annual revenue. Celebrities began tagging their babies in Little Bloom outfits. Venture capitalists started sliding into her DMs. Still, Emily kept the true scale hidden from Mark. Not out of spite, but out of self-protection. She needed to believe in herself first. Then came the day everything changed. It was Sophie's 7th birthday. Emily had quietly incorporated the business and brought on a brilliant young CEO who helped take Little Bloom into sustainable children's furniture and educational toys powered by recycled materials. Unknown to almost everyone, a major tech company had been watching. They wanted to acquire Little Bloom to integrate its designs into their new family wellness ecosystem. The offer came in on a Tuesday afternoon: $2 billion. Emily sat in her car in the school parking lot after dismissal, staring at the email until the words blurred. $2 billion. She drove home in a daze. That evening, Mark came through the door tired from a long day of meetings. Sophie ran to hug him, wearing her favorite Little Bloom dress. Emily had prepared a simple dinner, but her hands were shaking. "Mark," she said quietly after Sophie went to play, "I need to show you something." She opened her laptop and turned the screen toward him. The acquisition term sheet, the valuation, the number. He stared for a long moment, not speaking. The color drained from his face. His usual confident smirk was gone. For the first time in years, Mark looked small. This is real." His voice cracked. She nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. "It's been real for a long time. I just needed to prove it to myself before I could prove it to you." Mark's shoulders began to shake. The man who never cried in front of her broke down right there at the kitchen table. "I mocked you," he whispered. "Every day. I called it pointless. I made you feel small when you were building something enormous. God, Emily, I'm so sorry." They held each other for what felt like hours. The walls they had built over years crumbled in the face of truth, regret, and overwhelming love. Mark admitted he had been scared that if her dream succeeded, it would expose how stuck he felt in his own life. He had projected his fears onto her. That night, they talked like they hadn't in years. About dreams, about forgiveness, about starting over together. 3 months later, the acquisition closed. Emily made sure a significant portion went into a trust for Sophie and into supporting other women entrepreneurs. Mark left his corporate job and joined Little Bloom as head of operations, not because he had to, but because he wanted to spend his days helping the woman he loved change the world. Today, Emily travels the country speaking to women who feel dismissed in their own homes. She tells them her story without bitterness, only gratitude for every hard night that forged her. And Mark, he's her biggest cheerleader now. Every time a new mom shares a photo in a Little Bloom outfit, He's the one who likes it first and comments, "My wife built this. She's unstoppable." So here's the truth bomb at the end of this story. Your dream doesn't have to make sense to anyone else right now. Not even the person sleeping next to you. The only validation it needs is the fire in your own heart. Keep sewing those late-night stitches. Keep posting when no one's watching. Keep believing when the world laughs. Because one day, the same people who called it pointless might be the ones crying tears of pride at the billion-dollar table you built while they doubted. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of your own quiet battles, smash that like button and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss another story about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Drop a comment with the name of the dream you're fighting for. I read every single one. You've got this. Now go prove them wrong. See you in the next one.